For every new Minecraft update, it becomes impossible to get some items, blocks, and mobs. Hello there, Ray here, and for over 13 years, I've been finding new rares for you to collect in your Minecraft survival worlds. With 1.19.4 coming out this week, you will want to do these 5 things before they get removed from the game. The first rare we're going to look at is actually a quite extensive one that can apply to a lot of different mobs. This has to do with a bug which is in version 1.19.3, where something like a skeleton, who has the ability to pick up items. When he's giving some armor, he should put it on and wear it. So if you go ahead and give it a piece of armor, and it has that pick up loot tag, he'll just put it on like normal. Where it gets strange is when you give it another armor piece. What you would expect to happen is the skeleton to pick up this new one and replace his current leather armor with the diamond one. But what actually happens is that the skeleton will pick it up and put it in his hand. This is definitely not intentional. On top of that, we also just disarmed the skeleton, so it's no longer much of a threat because it doesn't even have a bow, as it dropped it to pick up the armor piece, which it just puts inside of its hand. These skeletons that don't have any bows can still hit you, and you always could give them like a sword, in which case they would drop their bow to pick up the sword. But having them hold something that isn't a sword or their original bow is a new collectible to obtain. When it comes to what items you can use for this trick, it can be any type of armor, and it has to be 2 which go to the same slot. So we can go ahead and give them like this gold helmet, and then we can give him a turtle helmet, which he'll try to put on his head, but instead he'll just hold it in his hand. This is how you can pull the trick off. Now, if they happen to have a weapon, they're going to constantly keep switching it out because they can't determine what's better, the armor piece in their hand or the sword. You can always come in here and just pick up the sword, and then they'll be left with the armor piece. Now, mobs holding the armor in their hand is different than this trick here, where the zombie is deciding to pick up either a unenchanted diamond leggings, which has full durability, versus an enchanted diamond legs, which has very low durability. Because he sees each of the different pieces as being more favorable than the other, one having better durability and one having better enchantments, he keeps switching them out. So besides making weaponless mobs like the wither skeleton without a sword and the stray and skeletons without their bows or swords, you can also use this on zombies. You might be wondering, what is unique about a zombie holding an armor piece? Because can't zombies hold like everything inside their hands? Normally when you would give a zombie a helmet, he'll put it on if he can. And if you give him a better one, he'll drop the old one and put on the new one. But if you go ahead and try to give him a helmet that is worse than what he has, in hopes that he'll pick it up and hold it in his hand, notice that he doesn't even attempt to pick it up, because it'll only pick up armor if it upgrades his current outfit. But if you just give him some other mundane item, then he'll pick it up and put it in his hand. So back in version 1.19.3, we can give a zombie some armor and then give it another armor, in which case they'll pick it up and put it inside of its hand. On top of this, another part of the bug is that it won't actually upgrade its current wearing armor, even if you give it a better one. So now I give it a diamond one, you think it'd put the diamond one on, but instead it will just upgrade the one that's in hand, making the zombie extra cursed because not only is it wearing armor, but it's also wearing a better armor, but not on itself. Things are also part of the armor set is stuff like elytras. So they always like wear one, but then now if you give them one after they have some armor piece on, they'll hold it in their hand. Another one is carved pumpkins. Typically they can't hold this in their hand, but if you first give them something else to wear, then give them the carved pumpkin, instead of putting it on their head, they're going to hold it out. Another thing which goes into the armor is mob heads. So you give it any type of helmet, and then come in and give it a mob head, and you can get these mobs to hold it in their hand. The dragon head looks especially odd. Now, something like a shield isn't actually part of the armor set, and it's always been the case when given these, they'll be placed in the offhand of the mob. So if you would happen to give it something else, it looks like they're holding a weapon and a shield. But this isn't anything new. Now, besides all these different types of zombies and skeletons, there's also the piglin, which has these same abilities. So we gave it a gold piece. Let's see if we give it another gold piece. It looks at it because it's a piglin and is curious about gold. Look at that, puts it right in its hand. And if we give it another gold one, first it has to pick it up and holds it in its opposite hand, taking a look at it, then stores it inside of its inventory. Now when it comes to stuff like totems of undying, as well as crossbows, these things aren't seen as like weapons or armor, so they won't switch them out. But when updating your world to 1.19.4 full release, part of the bug is fixed and part of the bug is still here. I would still recommend going ahead and collecting these different types of rares before updating, but if your server happens to update, you can still get some types of rares. So now I'm in version 1.19.4, currently in release candidate 2, but it's unlikely for anything to change when the full release comes out. So if we give him a leather piece and then come in with a diamond piece, he does switch it out, so he does upgrade from the lower level to the higher level, but he ends up putting it in his hand, which is not normally how it was. And if we'd happen to give him a sword, the zombie happens to be left-handed, but you can see he does the whole switching thing, so that part's not fixed either. So definitely get this type of rare where we has a lower tier holding a higher tier before updating. And then if you have more time, then come in and try to get these other variations. You could get a similar result by first putting a Curse of Binding lower tier armor onto the zombie and then giving it a higher tier. And because they have Curse of Binding, it cannot switch out what it's actually wearing and will end up just putting it in its hand. So make sure you use an unenchanted armor piece in order to illustrate that it is an actual rare. Enjoying so far? Like and subscribe as I have hundreds of videos just like this. The next collectible thing to get is also another type of mob, and this is spiders with special effects on them. On hard difficulty, there's a chance for spiders to have either the regen, the speed, the visibility, or the strength effects. But in 1.19.3 and prior, the length of time that the spider would have these effects is not actually infinite, and it's just a really big number. We can see it here under duration being set as a max integer limit of 2.1 billion game ticks. Meaning if you happen to have these spiders loaded for over 3 years worth of time, they would actually lose all their effects and it would go down to 0, and then they would just be like a normal spider. This is different than any spider which has spawned in with the effect after 1.19.4. That's because their duration is actually set to -1, which is used to make it last an infinite amount of time. So if you happen to collect these spiders prior, they will still have the old duration of just a really big number instead of the -1. Although you really can't see the difference between this spider and the new spider, they are technically a discontinued mob that can no longer be obtained. The next one has to do with beds. Now these two beds might look exactly the same, but they're actually different. Notice I'm able to sleep in this bed here, but when it comes to this bed over here, I can't actually sleep in it because it says the bed is being occupied. And if we look at them with F3 and we look over on the right hand side, we can see the glitch one's marked as being true. This is because I think something is actually sleeping in this bed, even though there isn't anything here at all. So the way to get one of these glitched out beds is you have to place your bed right on the corner of an end portal like this. And if you turn on hitboxes for the horse, you want to get the horse just to stand off of the actual eyes and fall onto the lower piece of the end portal, and then move the horse over near the bed. Make sure it's nice so you can actually sleep in it. And then when you click on the bed, you're going to slide off of the horse and slide into the bed, but also touch the portal and teleport you. And then you and the horse will get teleported over to end dimension. Now when you leave the exit end portal, it'll be placed near your bed, but this bed will now be glitched, saying that it's occupied, so you can no longer sleep inside of it. And updating your world will keep your bed like this. It's a great way to trick your friends into trying to sleep in a bed, which seems that there's a ghost already sleeping inside of it. Now before I talk about the infinite effects glitch, let's first mention something that isn't a rare, but something that you can take advantage of before updating, and that is actually fire charges. Fire charges in this version have an infinite use when it comes to igniting creepers. Normally when you use them like on the ground, it will use them up, but if you use them on a creeper, notice I still got the actual fire charge in my hand. This was seen as a bug and was fixed in 1.19.4. The infinite effects glitch was a crazy glitch where you can actually get potion effect on the player or on other mobs for an infinite amount of time. There's a lot of crazy things you could do with it, which I covered extensively in these two videos here. But when it comes to trying to get these infinite effects from updating from version 1.19.3 directly to 1.19.4, it's not possible even after many hours of extensive testing. So if you want to get it, be sure to get it into the snapshot 05A and then continue updating to 1.19.4. Now check out this playlist for more collectible items and blocks. For this one, all about discontinued mobs. Now tell your favorite Minecrafters about these rares so they can get them before they update their world. What's your all-time favorite rare in Minecraft? Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!